Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another PFL fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the full card of fights for PFL New York Nurmagomedov versus Colgan. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the card. So full card fight predictions. On our first fight we have in the women's flyweight division, we got Montana De La Rosa versus Tatiana Postarnakova. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go low confidence Montana De La Rosa to beat Tatiana Postarnakova. And yeah, watching Postarnakova, what can I say? I'm gonna act like she has so much more upside than De La Rosa. Does she? She is what, like 5 years younger. Do I see a particularly high ceiling for Postarnakova? No. So she might have more years left than than De La Rosa, but does she have a higher ceiling? Nah. And from what I see for Postarnakova, I'm not really impressed by her striking so much or her grappling. I think she's a solid, well-rounded fighter, but I don't really feel like she's exceptional anywhere. She should be the better striker, but I think level of experience is much more key here for De La Rosa. She has fought elite competition in the UFC. Her record might not look the prettiest, but she has fought nothing but the best competition she could fight in the UFC. She wasn't in there like, oh, give me Candy McCann, give me the other can, give me the can. Like she wanted the deepest smoke she could get. Like she fought some of the best fighters she could fight available in the UFC. So don't look at her record, just look at it's ugly. Like she's fought much better competition than Postarnakova, and she really has only lost some of the best fighters, best female fighters at her weight class or weight classes. And yeah, Postarnakova, I feel like De La Rosa will be the much better much better wrestler here. Postarnakova will be the better striker, but I think De La Rosa, with the threat of the takedowns and her success she will have there, I think she'll be able to open up on the feet as well. And De La Rosa has always shown to be tough and scrap, so she'll be hard to put away, and she'll be non-stop with the takedowns. If anything, I feel like the Angela Lee fights are very similar to this fight. If anything, I feel like Postarnakova is just a worse version of Angela Lee, if we're being honest. And De La Rosa, in their last fight, she beat Angela Lee. So she's fighting a worse version of the last person she just beat. A younger version, but a less good version. Like, Angela Lee had, was more lethal with the strikes, particularly the kicks. She had extensive experience. She had better submission game. Maybe not as good of offensive wrestling game, but Postarnakova, I don't feel like her wrestling's all that good offensively or defensively. And I think De La Rosa should be able to exploit her in that area, be able to push a pace on her, mix the takedowns in, and grind out a decision over Postarnakova. So in this one, I got Montana De La Rosa via decision. Now the next fight we have in the light heavyweight division, we got Jamel Jones versus Khabib Nabiev. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go high confidence Khabib Nabiev to beat Jamel Jones. Yeah, I feel like Jamel Jones is coming back for a paycheck. I feel like, I've seen fighters do this. Like, he's 30 years old. Let's just be honest, had a failed MMA career. That's not a bad thing to say. You went out there, a lot of people didn't even go out there and compete. You competed, I think, for the UFC, I believe. His name definitely seems familiar. The face seems familiar. So, you went out there, you tried your best, but ultimately it was a failed career. Like, you didn't go on to be a long-term journeyman in the UFC. You didn't go on to, I guess, make a lot of money in the game. But you went out there, you did it. But yeah, failed UFC career, failed MMA career, and he won. He took some time off, came back, won a couple fights, like little easy fights he could win, and saw opportunity. Now I could get paid, so I probably made a little $10,000 here, probably not $10,000, like $5,000 here, $3,000 here, whatever little money he made, and then PFL probably called. We need a guy for Khabib Nabiev to run over that could say he beat a former UFC fighter. And we'll give you $30,000, $40,000 for. You're like, hey, that's more than I make all year. This is what this fighter is. So 38-year-old fighter that had a failed career coming in here, Khabib Nabiev. He's a solid, well-rounded fighter, but as far as he's let's just be honest. What I'm trying to say, I'm saying a lot of words to say a little bit. Jamel Jones is coming here because he's trying to collect a check. Obviously, he's rolling the dice. Like maybe he'll win, and like that's the hopeful thinking. But this is like the lottery. He knows most likely he's gonna lose, most likely he's gonna get dogged, but he's going to guarantee get some more money he's been paid this whole year. And then he gets paid a year. And that's why he's here. So he's coming for a paycheck. And he's going to get treated like that. He'll come here not as motivated. Just hope maybe he lands a big shot or falls into a submission and gets a victory like that. But he doesn't really have a clean concrete path to victory. And I think Khabib Nabiev just takes him down, pounds him out, and gets him out of there mid to late first round TKO for Khabib Nabiev. So in this one, I got Khabib Nabiev via first round TKO. Now to the next fight we have in the light heavyweight division, we got Mustafa Diakhate versus Zach Nishimwe. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go low confidence Mustafa Diakhate to beat Zach Nishimwe. So I ain't gonna talk too much about this one. Get to the point. Zach Nishimwe, like, he just playing around, just fighting cans, and just padding his record for no reason. Mustafa Diakhate doesn't look all that solid, but he looks better. The more shape guy, the truer light heavyweight, like 6'4", bigger frame, leaned out. Zach Nishimwe look like a guy just playing around. I think Diakhate goes out there and puts him out in the first round via TKO. So in this one, I got Mustafa Diakhate via first round TKO. Now to our next fight. We have in the bantamweight division, we got Sean Gauci versus Alan Begosso. And Sean Gauci, to me, not like exceptional fighter by any means, but he's decent here for PFL level. UFC level, he probably gets sparked and be out of UFC real quick. But as far as PFL level, I think he's pretty good here. Going against Alan Begosso, and I feel like Gauci's very similar, but like a better version, or a significantly better version of Jack Cartwright, who just beat Begosso in his last fight by split decision. I don't think he stops Begosso. I think it's still a decision, but I think it's going to be a unanimous decision. So he's a better version of Cartwright. I said Cartwright. Cartwright. He's a better version of Cartwright. But, yeah, I still think it's a decision. I still think it's a competitive fight, but a clearer decision this time around. Sean Gauci just put in the combination better, addressing the grappling, and beating Begosso by decision here. So in this one, I got Sean Gauci via decision. Now the next fight we have in the welterweight division, we got David Martinez versus Omar El Dafrawy. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go low confidence Omar El Dafrawy to beat David Martinez. So David Martinez is I'm not going to say very similar, but he does have similar attributes to the person who last beat Dafrawy. But I just feel like I'm going low confidence Omar El Dafrawy to beat David Martinez. And yeah, I feel like he's similar to the last guy who beat him or has similar attributes. But I feel like Dafrawy's just more lethal than David Martinez. Martinez, like, he's winning and looking decent. But I just don't feel like he's just out that guy that just going to stand apart. I feel like Dafrawy has more standout qualities. I feel like he's the more lethal striker and more lethal grappler. Just like a more lethal fighter. Like Martinez kind of like doesn't really have the most power behind his hands. Don't really have no elbows or anything like that. Decent wrestler, grappler. Yeah, that's a good area there. But I feel like Dafrawy will do a better job of addressing grappling this time. And I also think when he'll be the guy with key standout for me, I feel like Dafrawy will be the stay in the fight, make competitive scrap, make Martinez have to work for everything. But I also feel like El Dafrawy, when he gets the opportunities, he'll be the land damaging shots, and I think that's gonna be the difference. It's gonna be land damaging shots, break Martinez down, and find fight ending strikes that ultimately will be able to put Martinez away late in the second round. But competitive scrap, maybe Martinez leading the fight, but I think El Dafrawy is gonna be more dangerous at all times in this fight, and eventually gonna be to find those shots that's gonna be to put Martinez away in the second round. So in this one, I got Omar El Dafrawy via second round TKO. Now, the next fight we have in the bantamweight division, we got Rafael Stots versus Lazaro Dayron. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go low confidence Lazaro Dayron to beat Rafael Stots. And really, they're kind of very similar, to be honest, but Lazaro Dayron has better momentum right now. I feel like Lazaro Dayron just the Dominican clone, Dominican twin, I didn't say Dominican, the Cuban twin, Cuban version of Rafael Stots. And yeah, they both can wrestle, grapple pretty well. They both can strike. I think Dayron got a little bit more pop in his punches. Stots just probably got better cardio. Yeah, like they're very similar. I feel like stats-wise, like, ain't too much off in any area. It's like, oh, Dayron hits so much harder than them. Oh, Stots so much faster. I guess the biggest thing that's probably more extensive between the two, Stots is a former Bellator champion. That's big. Dayron has not got to that level. Stots has way more guys and has beaten more guys. I mean, Dayron did have a split decision with what's his name? The guy that's currently the PFL champion, not PFL, but risen champion. And Stots is 2-0 against him. Even though both fights were close and you could argue this and that, he's 2-0, whereas Dayron just has a draw with him, whereas Stots on paper has 2-0 against him. So things like that and of that nature. But right now I feel like Dayron has better momentum. Like Stots went out there and accomplished what he has accomplished. And now he's on like a 2-fight losing streak. You know, both fights were competitive. He's on 2-fight losing streak. Dayron's right at momentum. I feel like they can cancel each other out in a lot of areas, but I feel like Dayron just has more hunger. He's younger. I believe he's younger. Nope. Well, he's younger, but not by that much. He probably not going to... I'm not going to say probably not. He's definitely not going to achieve as much as Stots is, but I think at this point he's going to be able to beat Stots. Close competitive fights, but I think Dayron's going to be a little bit hungry. Like, he's only 3 years younger and far less accomplished, and he has less mileage. But I think he'll be landing heavy shots. Stots has been clipped, so I could see him clipping Stots and putting Stots out of there. But I'm not gonna say he's gonna knock Stots out, but I do feel like he's gonna clip Stots, maybe wobble him or get him to drop for a bit, and that's gonna be a significant moment in the fight to still around or to shift the whole fight to his favor. But close competitive scrap, Dayron landing the heavy shots, and keeping the wrestling pretty even. But a close competitive fight, but Dayron is dealing a little more damage, and that being the differential in this fight. So, in this one, I got Lazaro Dayron via decision. Now to the next fight, we have in the lightweight division, we got Magomedov versus Angel Alvarez. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go low confidence Magomedov to beat Angel Alvarez. I just feel like Amru's the better overall fighter in the striking and the grappling. I feel like Angel Alvarez, he's like a power striker, but it's not like Magomedov's going to play his game so much. Like Magomedov's not going to be in the pockets trading with him. He's not going to just be sitting in there flat-footed in front of him, allowing Alvarez to, exploit his advantage. Like he'll be the stronger, more athletic guy, but he's not going to be the guy that's the more technical striker or the more technical wrestler. So for this athleticism to really play in effect when you're not the more technical guy, you don't have the more extensive arsenal, your guy got to kind of be in front of you. And even if he does have success with the wrestling, will he be able to have that consistently? Like anything, like he might have success, but it's gonna be limited. It's gonna be explosive pops at moments, but not sustained. With Nurmagomedov, he has advantage. He's gonna be able to sustain that for 15 minutes. He's gonna be the strike, fight at range, lands the shots, and move. Whereas Alvarez will be looking for these big moments, and they're gonna be too far in between, or not at all. But I'll say decision for Magomedov. I think Alvarez will be able to keep him, respectful with his own athleticism, with his own power, and Magomedov's gonna have to respect that. But Magomedov's gonna be able to, play at distance, mix the shots, maybe mix his own takedown when Alvarez starts to get too aggressive. But competitive scrap goes to full 15, but a clear decision for Magomedov after 15 minutes. I just think he's just a better overall fighter, and this fight just stylistically favors him a lot. So, in this one, I have Magomedov via decision. Now, the next fight we have in the light heavyweight division, we got Yagshimuradov versus Simeon Powell. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go low confidence Simeon Powell to beat Yagshimuradov. And close competitive scrap. I think Yagshimuradov is the more technical fighter, but Powell is, the taller guy, will have a huge reach advantage over Yagshimuradov. And then he'll have that pop in his punches as well. Like he's awkward, but he's very dangerous. And Yagshimuradov will have to respect that. But close competitive fights, but I think Simeon Powell will be able to use his reach and land more shots. And I think he'll be able to land the heavier shots over the 15 minutes. But nonetheless, competitive scrap. But Simeon Powell just landing a little bit more. Matter of fact, I think Muradov's gonna land more. I don't think it's gonna be the highest output fight because Yagshimuradov's not really even a super high output fighter, and Powell's not that technical to really be landing at such a high clip. I feel like Powell's got to typically just land big shots. Like he can throw in volume, but typically he kind of got to just land big shots. So it's gonna be like a lower output fight. But I think Powell's gonna be landing heavy shots. Probably clip Muradov. Yagshimuradov had points in this fight. I think he goes full 15. But Powell, in this fight where not a whole lot particularly happens so much, like it's not going to be like both guys landing, throwing 60 plus strikes around, might be like 30 max, maybe landing at like 30% clips. But Powell going to be the one landing the heavier shots. That's going to be winning the rounds and winning the fight. So in this one, I got Simeon Powell via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in our co-main event in the women's flyweight division, we got Ditcheva versus Denise Kielholtz. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go high confidence Ditcheva to beat Denise Kielholtz. And Ditcheva just got all advantages. Like she's the better striker, she's the better grappler, she's the younger fighter, she's the taller fighter, the longer fighter. I will say Kielholtz looks better to me, but this is not a beauty contest. But high confidence Ditcheva to beat Denise Kielholtz. I just think Denise Kielholtz gonna get chewed up in this fight. I can see if Kielholtz was like really explosive and had real big power, that might be a little different advantage, or maybe she had this, but Ditcheva's the better grappler, longer, stronger, and maybe the pure power advantage in her punches is an advantage, but it's not that significant advantage to cover or really be that big of a threat for, in my opinion here. I think Ditcheva just picks her apart for 15 minutes. Kielholtz will have her little moments, or she'll be in a fight, she'll make it a fight a bit, but ultimately the majority of the fight is going to be her getting picked apart. And matter of fact, I might even say in the distance, but I'll say decision. Like Kielholtz does have a extensive kickboxing background, so it's not like she's an MMA fighter who's not used to dealing with pure striking. Like so, she's dealt with high level kickboxers. She's trained with high level kickboxers, so she can take the damage better than some of these fighters that have come from grappling backgrounds or have only been MMA and not like a pure striking background. So, and it's pretty. She is a warrior, so I think she'll be able to go to full 15 minutes. If this was like a 5-round, maybe I would say more so getting stopped. But 3 rounds, I think she'll be able to stick in the fight. But Ditcheva is really just having target practice for most of this fight and beating Kielholtz by a clear decision here after 15 minutes. So in this one, I have Ditcheva via decision. Now to our main event, we have in the lightweight division for the undisputed PFL lightweight championship, we got Usman Nurmagomedov versus Archie Colgan. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go average confidence Usman Nurmagomedov to beat Archie Colgan. And what do I say? I'll say decision. Like Usman Nurmagomedov at times had shown to not really be a finisher, to be honest. He's not like he got like a 90% finish ratio. He got like a 75% finish ratio. Nurmagomedov, I feel like if anything, he's more of a decisionator. And Colgan is one of the best guys he has fought. But stylistically, I don't really feel like Colgan has the best style to beat Nurmagomedov. Maybe he has the best style to catch him and knock him out, but I don't think he has the wrestling ability to really out wrestle him, and especially not over 25 minutes. If anything, him trying to wrestle would just be taxing on his own cardio and would just probably lead to him being gassed and getting stopped. But I think he'll probably try to mix it in a little bit in spurts, more so just to give Nurmagomedov a different look, and maybe let's try to come over the top or down the middle. But Nurmagomedov is going to be wise to all that. And I think Usman Nurmagomedov is going to do a good job of addressing wrestling, mixing in his own wrestling at times, using his length, using his reach, being at kicker range, and load up Colgan's arms, throw some high kicks, throw some teeps, stepping side kicks, spinning kicks, attack the legs, and get this be longer, more versatile, and just have Archie Colgan with his limited arsenal just struggling to find answers or find openings, and just kind of just reaching and trying to chase things and trying to explode into things, and Nurmagomedov just being wise to it and keeping that bay, and playing the range very well. So most of the fight gonna be pretty much at range. Nurmagomedov just landing kicks and piling up points, and Colgan struggling to cover that range. And then maybe the few times he does, he might get there and not be able to get a takedown or not be able to sustain that takedown, or get spun around and get taken down himself. And yeah, this Nurmagomedov just playing the range very well. Majority of this fight at range with Nurmagomedov heavily in his favor, landing almost at will. Maybe not no big flush shots, but good scoring point shots. Maybe some hard shots to the body with the kicks, some hard heavy leg kicks, throw some high kicks. Gonna be catching on the guard mostly. Some teeps, some front kicks to the face, some jabs, a little bit of overhands. Again, it's at distance, maintaining that range well, and Colgan struggling to cover that range. But Colgan been tough, trying to make the most of it, trying to make it as scrappy as he can, but Nurmagomedov not really allowing it, and ultimately beating Colgan by a clear decision after 25 minutes. So in this one, I have Usman Nurmagomedov via decision. And that concludes my fight predictions for the full card of fights for PFL New York, Nurmagomedov versus Colgan. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.